What's up YouTube? So today we're going to be installing a dual caliper setup on my limited edition Throne SRPNT Cookies edition. So we had ordered a dual caliper setup, a full complete dual caliper setup with a foot brake from Emoto Garage. So this is what the bracket and both of the calipers look like. And then it already came attached with the brake line, the whole master cylinder, and the lever as well. This is a smaller foot brake that Emoto Garage actually threw in for free. Shout out to Emoto Garage. And then this is going to be the lever for the foot brake. And then this is the tip of the pedal of the foot brake. We're just waiting for the master cylinder to come in for the foot brake, and then we'll be doing another YouTube video. So if you guys are interested in doing an installation video on your foot brake, feel free to check that out, which we're going to be dropping in the YouTube channel. And then we also ordered a 230 millimeter rotor from Emoto Garage. I haven't seen many Throne SRPNT videos out there, so I went ahead and went out my way on the back end to learn the entire brake assembly and how to take it apart and rebuild it the safest and fastest way for you guys. This video should be able to help you out. Again, we will be doing another video in the future, doing an installation on the foot brake once that master cylinder comes in. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into it. So this is all the tools that I'm basically going to be using. I'm only going to be using my Allen key socket set, this small screwdriver, my 14 millimeter wrench, a small ratchet, a 17 millimeter socket for the rear wheel, and a 10 millimeter for the brake line. The impact ratchet basically just to help me take off the wheel.
Dirty ass bike.
So basically first we're going to start off by taking off the rear wheel. Boom, we're just gonna lay that wheel right here. And caliper should just slide right off at that point. The caliper off of the bracket. You could use regular Allen keys, but using a Allen key and or an Allen key socket and a ratchet will just make things a little bit easier. There it is, there's that bracket. It's pretty dirty, but we're not going to be needing it no more. So, and then now we're going to disconnect the caliper from the brake line, but some fluid might drip out, so I would put something like underneath to catch the brake fluid. I'm going to be using this little trash can. And then to take off that brake line, you're going to need a 10 millimeter socket. I'm just going to use the impact ratchet and the 10 mil since we're just taking it off. So you're going to see all that brake fluid is going to start dripping out of the caliper. You can grab maybe like a rag or a microfiber cloth to lay that on so you don't get brake fluid anywhere. And then I left this hanging right over the trash can so that way any excess that comes out once we take this off, especially once we take off the top, some more brake fluid will come out. Screw as well, leave it on that rag so we don't get brake fluid nowhere. So that's pretty much all you're gonna do for the disassembly on the rear end. Now we're going to be taking off the seat, which I'm going to take a second to admire this limited edition cookie seat that does come with some pretty nice designs.
Very huge.
Dude, don't get the up here. All right, yeah, nice seat. All right, so yeah, we're just going to put the key in right here, and we're just going to, what I do is I grab the rear end and I just pull backwards on the rear end, and then it should take the seat right off. Now that we're here, we're going to start off by disconnecting both of these connections. This red tab just comes all the way up like this vertically, and then you kind of just wiggle it and pull it up. And then this one right here, you grab this purple part, twist it, I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this, and just pull out. You could also charge your battery from right here if you didn't know. I'm pretty sure only the Cookies bikes have levers like this. You should have a pin right here that you'll just pull out, and then it should just come right off. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna lift this lever up, and then you're gonna push it back, and then it should release just like that. Let's go. Put that out the way. And then right out. Boom. We're gonna put that right here on the table. We're gonna move on to our next part, which we're gonna take the little screwdriver and take out these little 4 screws right here, which hold the brake line in place. So should be pretty easy.
He's got a full like.
So there's these little tabs right here or right here that make it a little bit easier to just kind of pull this out. grab this one on this side once that one's out, and then pull that one out too. And then boom, the brake line right here should be like kind of like clipped in. It's how you just gotta pull it out. Boom. So put this aside and then put these 4 bolts somewhere safe where you will not lose them. Move on to taking apart or taking off both of these covers. So we're gonna use a 4mm Allen and the impact ratchet to take them off. So there's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. There's going to be 2 in the front right here. We're just gonna take out this one. We're gonna go to the other side. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. All right. What I usually do with these bolts, once I take these off, I screw them back into the frame just so I don't lose them. And then there's 2. We already took one out, so we're gonna take that second one out. Now we'll be able to just pop this line out. It might be a little stubborn. Sometimes you gotta bend the plastic. Now we can start feeding the brake line through, but before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and take this out right here. I like to take that bolt, put it right back where it belongs, just so you know you don't lose it. Take that little clip out. Boom, let's go ahead and take this brake line out. Shouldn't be leaking anymore. Put it right here through the fork seals one more time. Try your best not to get any brake fluid anywhere. We're not dripping anymore. So we didn't get any brake fluid anywhere. We're gonna put that back in the trash can though, just to be safe. These are gonna be 4mm Allen keys right here, 2 of them. And then once this is off, what I'll do if I were you guys, I would just screw them back on like this, just so you don't lose any bolts. So just like that, now the stock brake is out. We're gonna go ahead and put it over here next to the stock caliper. The things at least are on the rag, nice and organized. All right, so now that the brake's out, we're pretty much ready to just install the dual caliper kit. All right, so we're gonna be replacing this stock SRPNT rotor with this 230mm e-bike garage rotor. And again, we're gonna need a T30 to get all of those off, right? Now that these 6 bolts are out, we are going to be putting on the rotor with these brand new e-bike garage bolts. So when you grab the rotor and you put it on, the riding obviously has to be on the outside. So it should sit pretty flush like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and install these hand tight. There's 2, 3, 4. Look like they're gonna be a different size, so we're gonna try the T25. It looks like to be a T25, yep. So it's gonna be a T25. We'll go ahead and tighten them as much as we can right there before we hear that clicking sound. And then once we are at that point, I'll go ahead and switch over to like a ratchet, and I'll give it a good little pull. And we tighten them in a star order. So I started with this one, went to this one, now we're going to this one, and then we're gonna move to this one. So we got all 6 of the bolts on, and now we're gonna put the rear wheel on with the calipers. We're gonna grab this 3mm Allen key, and we're gonna take these 3 Allens out. I really like this blue. I believe they call this blue the YZ blue. So I like to just put them in there, just throw them in there, and then hand tighten them, and then just hand tighten it real quick. And just make sure it's pretty tight. There's these little discs that stop the brakes from compressing, because you do not want to compress the brakes and press on the lever with nothing there. That's how you completely close your pistons, and that's how you damage them. So notice how even though I'm pressing this, it's working on this just like it would on the caliper. So once you take these out, you don't want to press that lever anymore. You want to just install it onto the rotor. And that's what we're gonna do. So let's go ahead and do it. Lever right here, just so it kind of holds the brake line for me. And then I'll go ahead and line it up. You see exactly where the axle bolt is going to go, right there. Boom. And then let's go ahead and get the wheel. I'll wiggle it while I put it in, and that kind of helps me put it in. This little silver one that adjusts the chain, and then we'll adjust the chain if we need to. So, just like that. Now that the wheel's on, the chain's on, I'll go ahead and tighten it. Our 14mm wrench, and then we're gonna grab a 17mm socket. Oh, just like that. Now that the dual caliper and the rotor is on, we're going to feed the brake line back into the front. Okay, so we got master mechanic Brian right here. He's gonna actually help me finish the job. You feel me? So pull up real quick.
Basically, we need to change the breaker fluid inside here.
Yeah.
See?
The blinker fluid.
Mm-hmm.
This dude's certified, bro. This dude's certified. I think you just let him take over from here. I think we'll be alright.
Let's see if now it fits without the other piece. You looking golden. Try not to scratch anything too.
Textures.
This is not fitting.
We're
so close.
Let me see.
Hold on. Oh my god, and we did it. Boom.
Takes a little finesse.
We're good, chat. Boom. Just like that, we're able to work through it without unbleeding the brake or without damaging the lever or the master cylinder. We're just gonna go ahead and mount the lever and the master cylinder. That's fire. So the brakes are working just like that already. They're set up, ready to use once I tighten this master cylinder and the lever down. But we can't forget this one. This little guy right here. Slip it right over that one. And then, again, just get the few first threads in. So now we can finally wrap this thing up. We're gonna be putting on the shield guards in the front. Oh my gosh.
Whoa!
You told me to drop it and you're not holding the button.
You gotta put that in the video.
Alright.
That was raw. These sparks has water.
Hey, go film a little. Last piece going on. Remember, we put it in right here. Boom. Put it back right there.
Subscribe to Eddie Daniels. I'm making a video.
We got Uno right here going in. We got Dose going in. All right, and just like that, we have the dual caliper setup installed. Again, I'm going to be taking off the second caliper because I don't have the master cylinder for the foot brake, so until that comes in, we're not going to run that second caliper to keep it nice and brand new. If you guys like that or if that helped you guys out, feel free to like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that way you can see videos like this in the future. We're going to be doing that foot brake install pretty soon, so hang tight and keep an eye out for that. But if you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them down below in the comments. I was told that I got to break these in, so we're gonna go break them in a couple miles at least, just making sure that they work properly and making sure that everything's seated correctly and working the way it should. And yeah, I'll throw in some wheelie clips and yeah, let's go test this bike out now. So later.